Hello and welcome back to the 3 and Advantage channel. It's Nathan and Aiden back with another video for you today. Today we're going to be breaking down the Thursday night football game between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Before we get into all of that, please go ahead and like and subscribe and kind of tell us where you think our analysis is wrong about this game and these two teams. Let's just get straight into it though. How are you feeling about tonight's game, Aiden?
I'm kind of excited. It's a very good matchup in division. I'm excited to see this matchup between these two teams because one's picking up pace and one looking really solid. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game. And I really could see this game going either way. I still am kind of up in the air about what I want to do with it. But I think the coin is going to land on the Green Bay Packers to win this game at home on the upset. I'm not very confident in this. Obviously, the Packers have some, scary injuries. They are going to be without David Bakhtiari, but they have his backup, Rasheed Walker. Okay, yeah. He stepped in against the Saints, and he looked pretty solid. And so I'm not as worried about him. However, Elton Jenkins is also down. So that means we're probably going to have Royce Newman playing, who's a complete liability on that interior unit. And so I'm not necessarily worried about this pass rush getting after Jordan Love. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson will definitely, win some because he's a great player. But I'm not quite as worried about the rest. I'm worried about how this run game is going to look. Obviously, Aaron Jones he's been listed as questionable. It seems like he is going to play, but obviously he is coming back from injury. And A.J. Dillon hasn't been great. Add that with a weaker unit against Lions defense that's going to play hard and really try to defend the run. I'm not sure how explosive the Packers running game is going to be, but I still think they'll be able to move the ball through the air. And I think their defense will at least do enough to limit the Lions offense, which to me still has not looked great. It's looked like good. It's looked fine. It has not looked great. And so I think Green Bay is going to win this game at home on the upset, off the back of Jordan Love and hopefully having a healthy Christian Watson and Aaron Jones. And I think they're going to be able to move the ball through the air to come win this game.
See, I agree that the game's be close. But again, I'm going to still go on. I cannot bet against Dan Campbell. I love him too much as a coach. I'm taking the Lions, but I do have the Green Bay covering that 2-point spread. I've seen a couple places it's 1.5. What I'm seeing right here is 2. I have them covering, but I just have, when it comes down to the Lions going down last drive to score for them to win the game, basically. You didn't get a chance to do your score prediction. Do you want to do that real quick before I keep talking?
Yes. I'm going to say, so right now the over-under line is about 45 and a half. I think the under's in play. I think there's going to be a little bit more defense in this game than some people would expect. So I'm going to say it's going to be 24 to 21. No, 22. 24-22. Packers win at home.
I had a feeling you were going to say something like that because I have 24-23 Lions written down here. I just had a feeling that we were going to have very similar score predictions. But, yeah, I have the Lions just edging them out. I mean, yes, the Packers played very, very good against the Saints. The second half of the Saints were not good, and the Packers took advantage. But the Lions, in my opinion, always start off slow and then pick up speed. So their second half is always better than their first half in tight games, at least. When it comes to games that they've kind of blown out, they're decent at controlling that. But they're solid on that second half of the game when they are either down or it's too close to call. So, like I said, Lions money line, Green Bay covering the spread. Let's get into first touchdown scores. I'm gonna go first. I have Sam Laporta only because I love that man. He is a solid rookie tight end. Last game, the Saints scored with a tight end on their first drive. I think the Lions did the same thing because they had an opening. So give me the tight end, Sam Laporta, on the first touchdown score.
See, normally I'm not a huge fan of rookie tight ends because they don't have a great track record. But I was actually tempted to go for the Green Bay tight end, Luke Musgrave, to score the first touchdown. However, He's coming back from injury, and he is the best player on this Packers offense, at least playmaking wise. I'm going Aaron Jones. It's just we're on the escalator. Why are we breaking a sweat? Let's keep it simple. Aaron Jones, first touchdown scorer. He's a big part of this offense. They're going to want to get him involved. AJ Dillon is not a great player. So when you have an actual great player in there, let's use him. And I think it's probably going to be a receiving touchdown. I'm going to say it's some sort of wheel route. He's going to fucking, shimmy on some linebacker, leave Alex Anzalone in the dust, and touchdown is what I'm calling. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a close game. It's going to be an exciting game. And two good offensive coaches and Ben Johnson versus Mike LaFleur. Matt LaFleur. Why can I never get his name right? Matt LaFleur. Between those two, and I'm just going with Matt LaFleur, the more experienced coach, to edge it out. But now let's go ahead and talk about our player props. We're going to go back and forth, giving you a player prop that each of us like. And I'll go first. And as I said, I think Aaron Jones might score a receiving touchdown. I like the over on Aaron Jones receiving yards. Jordan Love looked pretty good in that week 1 game when he did have Aaron Jones, and the last 2 weeks hasn't quite looked as good. But having Aaron Jones is another kind of reliable target in there. It's going to give him a safety blanket. And Aaron Jones is one of these few running backs that can actually do a little bit more than kind of just, take dump offs. He can run legit routes and actually be a weapon for this team in the designed passing offense. Jahmyr Gibbs, ceiling, I think, or what people want Jahmyr Gibbs to be, is Aaron Jones. And so I think Aaron Jones could be in store for a pretty big game.
I agree. Aaron Jones should have a big game, but I'm going to go kind of piggyback off that, but in a different route. I have Jordan Love under 19.5 completions. He has been solid, but he's still at around 50% completion. He had to throw 40-something passes to hit the over in the game against the Saints when they were down, where they had to push the envelope basically. And the other 2 games, he didn't even get close. And I have it at under completions because hopefully if Aaron Jones come in, they dominate a little bit more in that run game, so they don't have to worry about him in the pass game. I think it's going to be a close line. I think the line's good at 19.5. I think he's going to hit 17, 18 is my guess. So I have him squeaking the under on that.
See, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think there was a stat that Jordan Love, I think, had a 40% rate on uncatchable passes or something absurd like that, leads the league in uncatchable passes. But also, I mean, he's been without Christian Watson. He's been playing, throwing the ball to Samori Torre. That's just not an NFL wide receiver. We're throwing it to Dontavian Wicks. And it's just not, great talent he's been throwing to. So getting Christian Watson and Aaron Jones back in there, I do think Aaron Jones or Jordan Love is going to play better. Somewhat piggybacking off of my Aaron Jones reception or receiving yards, I'm going for AJ Dillon under rushing yards. He's currently around 33.5-ish, give or take. And I just don't think he's a super dynamic runner. For a bigger dude, he just doesn't seem like he runs with a whole lot of power. Even someone like Ezekiel Elliott is a little bit of a bowling ball. People hate Zeke, but he will kind of just run, knock some people over, and get you 4 yards. I feel like AJ Dillon's a worse version of Ezekiel Elliott. And, in this interior unit, it's going to be a little bit weaker, as I said, with Royce Newman in there and Noah Bakhtari. I just don't think they're going to do a great job of running the ball, especially, this Lions team really played hard on defense to shut down the run against the Falcons. Granted, the Falcons kind of abandoned the run a little bit too early. But the way to beat the Detroit Lions, I feel like, is still through the air. They're going to have some receiving weapons back. And Aaron Jones, who's a much better player, I think they're going to rely on him more than A.J. Dillon. So I just don't think A.J. Dillon is in store for a very big game.
Well, I'm going off to the side, to the other side of the ball, where I have kind of a player that's been under, not as talked about as much. It's Josh Reynolds for the Lions. And the past 2 games that he's played, he had, I think, 4 catches and 5 catches. The line right now is at 2.5. It's almost scary low. I think with him having so much success the past 2 games with that 4 and 5 catches, I think it should have been around 3.5. But so it's seeing at 2.5. I think he can get 3, if not 4, in this game. So give me the over 2.5 catches for Josh Reynolds.
See, I was kind of thinking about something like that. Um, at the moment, it seems like Jair Alexander is still questionable. Who necessarily knows if he's going to play or not? Like it seems like he may be trending towards not playing. But I mean, if he's out there, I don't know if he's going to be following, Amon off. They're going to have him kind of shadow Josh Reynolds. But if he does play and does kind of follow Amon Ra, then I definitely see that Josh Reynolds could have a good game. But to me, that's also one of those lines where it's like, why is that so low? Like, what does Vegas
Mm-hmm.
know? So, I mean, I personally wouldn't touch it, but if it hit, I'm not going to be stunned or anything for
Mm.
sure. My last line, there's a few that I'm kind of deciding between. But I'm going to go for Jordan Love over passing yards. So, as I said, the way to beat this team is through the air. Despite, people thinking that Lions defense, especially last year, is you could kind of run on them and throw on them. This year, you can't really run on them. I think they're going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to get creative in the designed offense. Matt LaFleur is a great coach, a great play caller, a great play designer. And now that they're going to have these pieces and Christian Watson and Aaron Jones back, like I'd be surprised if both of them don't score a touchdown. Like you finally get in the back, let's use them. He hasn't played a game with Christian Watson yet this season. And so he's going to be a big part of this offense. And I think they're going to do a good job on the Packers side of getting these guys open in space and letting them make plays. So that's my final line over on Jordan Love passing yards. I think they're going to move the ball pretty well.
So I'm going to go off that similar, but on the defensive side for the Lions, yes, they're going to be attempting to pass more often, but I can't deny this defense having 7 sacks against the Falcons last week. There was 2 lines that I saw. There was one on Prize Picks. It was a common, like a little combo sack to where it's Alex Anzalone and Aiden Hutchinson, like over under 0.75 sacks. I like that as the over. I really just like Aiden Hutchinson over. The difference between this D line and the Saints D line, the Saints are big, powerful guys. Some of them have a little bit of quickness, but they were able to contain and get to him. The Lions, they have this fast edge rusher in Aiden Hutchinson. He can be able to catch up to Jordan Love a little bit quicker than that Saints D line, and the Saints D line did get to Jordan Love quite a bit. I think that's the little edge the Lions might have. Yeah, so either Aiden Hutchinson full sack, I saw that like plus odds, like plus 120, or that if you do Prize Picks, the over on the 0.75 bet.
See, I think Aiden Hutchinson probably could get a sack, but I don't think this Lions defense is actually going to get after Jordan Love all that well, if I'm being honest. As I said with Rasheed Walker against the Saints it was 40, 50 something passing downs. He only allowed like one pressure. Like he played pretty well. Um, and then, Josh Neiman on the other side's been a solid kind of backup tackle. And that's even, Zach Tom is still questionable. If Zach Tom comes in, he's also a solid tackle. So I think they're actually going to be fine on either tackle position. Main spot I'd be worried about Aiden Hutchinson really producing from, or any of these lines other guys producing from, is the interior, especially, targeting Royce Newman, who just does not have NFL play strength. But, if you're playing on the interior, it's a little bit easier to get some of those double teams to kind of protect some of your guys. And so I think, Aiden Hutchinson, I think he's really rising to be like a tier. I think right now he's probably at least a tier 3, but probably like a tier 2 edge rusher in the league with the potential to be a tier 1 guy. So, I mean, he's going to get his. Like, he's just going to win some. When you're that great of a player, you're going to win. But I just don't know if any of these other guys are really going to get after Jordan Love, and they're going to be that, dynamic and disrupting this passing game with Matt LaFleur, who they really want to get the ball out early and let the playmakers play. So I would actually disagree with that line myself. But if I do think Aiden Hutchinson will get his, but I don't think anybody else is going to do much on this Lions defense.
So my last bet, if anything, is going to be with I'm tagging with Sam Laporta again over on the catches. The offensive wise for the Saints, they don't really, at least Derek Carr hasn't been including tight end as much. But when you go back to the week when they went against the Falcons, the Falcons really love to utilize Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts in a lot of the passing games. So I think with Jared Goff getting liking Sam Laporta more and giving him the ball more, I think this line at 4.5, I think you can get 5 or 6. So I have the over on Sam Laporta catches.
Okay, interesting. So for me, my final line is actually me Jared Goff under passing yards. It's around 255-ish, 254-ish. Some places might be a little bit higher or lower. But I feel like the Packers are actually going to have a pretty productive day in getting after the quarterback. I mean, the Lions are going to have Taylor Decker coming back, who is one of the better pass protecting tackles in the league. But no, High Vitae, Graham Glasgow is a very adequate starter, but I think Kenny Clark and Devontae Wyatt are really going to be able to play really well and get after the quarterback and defend the run well on this interior. And then on the edge, I do think the Packers are going to have a decent game, kind of getting after Jared Goff and making him uncomfortable. But then also the Lions are probably getting back David Montgomery. So I think they're going to want to go back to pounding the rock, running the ball, and then let in, Jared Goff do a lot more in the play action game where you can, fake that, have a little bit more time to throw. But it also I don't think Jared Goff is going to be leading this crazy explosive offense, especially so that they're still without Jameson Williams on suspension. And especially if Jair Alexander plays, like he's going to just take out any Lions wide receiver that he's put on just because none of them are good enough. Even Amon-Ra is a guy I like. He's just not the athlete that Jair Alexander is. And so I think this Lions offense is going to look a lot worse than people are expecting. So that's my final line. Is there anything that you want to add before we get out of here?
No.
Perfect. All right. So as we said, it's a interesting game, really a coin flip, I think, for the both of us. So I'm going with the Packers. You're going with the Lions. And it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited. I think it'll probably be the best Thursday night football game we've had so far this season. But if you stuck around for this long, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Go down in the comments. Tell us how dumb we are for not picking your team to win. And we'll be back with some more videos for you very, very soon. Thank y'all for watching.